Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Realtree, Muddy Outdoors, Hoyt Archery, Fuse Accessories, Frigid Forage, Scott Archery, Cabela's, Trophy Rock, Night and Hail Game Calls, TrailCamPro.com, Bloodsport Arrows, Rocket Broadheads, and Nikon.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. The whole project this week is to find some shooter bucks on the farm and get ready for the second shotgun season that comes in this weekend. The plan is to get either Jordan or Andrew, or both Jordan and Andrew, out this weekend. I've got 6 cameras out, and they're in some spots that are close to food plots. So pretty good chance that if we pick up something on these cameras that's moving during the daylight, that we should be able to get on those deer on those food plots nearby. So that's the plan. I'm going to go back to the office here and take a look at these 6 cards. So I'll show you what I come up with. Took a look at those 6 cards. I didn't feel like there was any big time shooters on there. There were definitely some mature bucks, 3 or 4 mature bucks. Seems like we're in that cull buck mode right now. There's definitely some bucks on there that we need to remove. Older deer that have been here for a while that just don't have very good antlers. So I gotta try to think about the wind directions and so forth as relates to this coming weekend, but we're gonna be in after a couple of these bucks before it's done. But overall, I'd say I was not super excited with what was on the cards. I was hoping there'd be a big surprise on there, and this time we didn't find anything on there that we hadn't seen from previous card pulls from the cameras. So it looks like it's going to be a rebuilding year now that Bubba and the G4 buck are gone. You never know; something can move in still. I mean, there's food here, and the further into the winter we get, the more attractive that food becomes.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. Today is December 9th, and it's a really cold, windy day, but we're going to go back and hunt a cornfield and see what comes out.
We had a cold front come through on Sunday afternoon. The temperature dropped from about 35 to 40 degrees early in the afternoon down to the teens, or the lower 20s at least by the time it got dark. A lot of times when that happens, you've got the winds that associate with that. We had real windy conditions, gusts to 20 to 25 miles per hour, and the deer were a little bit skittish. The bucks, the first ones that came out especially, they were looking over their shoulders all the time, and they were not comfortable on the food plot. One of the early bucks that came out was one that we nicknamed Club, and it was a deer that we had filmed during the summer on a different food plot, at least a half a mile away. And he was definitely one of the bucks that we were targeting for this year. He's not a high-scoring buck, but he's a cool-looking deer, and he's definitely mature. And of the 11 bucks that we saw, Club was one of the shooters that we figured was mature, and the other one was the deer that we had nicknamed Krusty 2. And Krusty 2 is just an old deer. He's not a high-scoring deer, never was, and especially not now with part of his left side of his rack broke off. But regardless, Jordan definitely had the green light on Krusty 2 if he would have offered her a shot. He worked his way straight toward us. It took probably almost 45 minutes for him to come from about 130 yards to about 40 to 50 yards. And as he started getting closer, we were looking for that broadside shot, but it just never came. He just continued moving in our direction. And finally, as he came closer to the blind, I don't know if he saw us moving up there between two windows or what happened, but he locked up. And I couldn't get the camera back on him, but he froze, he looked around for a little while, and then he trotted off. So unfortunately, even though we had him close enough for a shot, we just couldn't get the right angle on Krusty 2. But it's nice to see that he's still there. He's been in that same area the whole fall. I mean, he's a buck that we've been hunting right there since clear back during the youth season when Andrew and I went in there on the 25th of September. So we saw 11 bucks, 2 mature deer, and 9 that were young bucks. So it looks good for the future. It'd be nice if there had been just a few more mature bucks that would have presented us with a shot. But Jordan does have some more time later in the week, I think, when we can get back out. So hopefully we can finish this story. And Drew should be getting out a little bit too, I think, this week. Jordan's got sports in the evening, so she's not going to be able to go every night. But I do think I can get Drew out maybe a couple times this week. And with these cold temperatures coming in, it should really start to get good. The deer are definitely hitting the big and beastie. There was a patch of corn behind the blind, and I don't know if there's any corn left in there. I believe there is, but they weren't moving into that corn at all. They were really focused on the big and beastie tonight.
This season started off great. Early October, we got on that buck we called Ugly. We made a good shot on him, died in the ditch. It was a great hunt. Season's shaping up perfect. We've got some good deer on camera, and my buddy Kurt Schrader is going to be down during the archery season, and my dad's going to come down from Wisconsin and hunt during the second shotgun season with me. We had a couple deer that we've been watching since the summer. One of them was Braveheart. Kurt had him at about 65 yards one night. A couple nights later, I was in that same location. I had him at 37 yards and opted not to shoot him. We're nervous that this deer might be a 3.5-year-old, but he's a deer that really sits tight on the farm. A couple weeks ago, after the first before the first shotgun season, I ran a corn study. No one was hunting any of our farms during the first shotgun season, so about 4 or 5 days before that shotgun season started, it gave me about 2 weeks to get the deer in there, eat that corn, get some photos, and see what was going on. I was getting real nervous because the one deer that never hit the corn, Braveheart. So after I went through all my corn pictures, I did have one picture of him actually 2 nights ago, walking right through the middle of that field, and so at least he's still alive and running around out there. One of the other bucks on the farm this year that started showing up in late summer was a buck we call 9-ball. Great big 9-pointer. Actually, I think it was Aaron that filmed him over on Bill's farm early in the summer. Now, the one thing about 9-ball, we have never laid eyes on him ourselves on my farm. He's there all the time. I frequently get pictures. I actually had one picture where he was walking through and right in front of one of our blinds, but he's still there. But 9-ball's got a problem now. Every once in a while you'll see a deer on trail cam where the reflection off their eyes isn't there and you know that one of their eyes got damaged. Well, 9-ball's left eye looks like it's gone. It's a mess. It's a nasty, it's getting infected underneath, and his body and stuff still looks good. He looks healthy. He's a deer that we'd love to get a crack at. He might be one of those deer. He shows up like Waldo did last year. Waldo was a deer that we knew was there. We got trail cam pictures of him, never actually laid eyes on him until the night we shot him. So that's something we're hoping might happen. One problem we have on that farm this year, the beans did not grow as well as they did last year. So there's just not as many deer in there. I was hunting there last night with my dad. We had a little doe fawn come out, and she fed out there for 2.5 hours. So that gave us hope that there was still some food in there that the deer are eating. One of the other deer that we were hoping to see this year is a buck we call Blanco. And unfortunately, Blanco's got a big old tine miss, and his G3, I think, on his left side is gone. So he's a deer that we'd rather not shoot, but of course he's the one deer that's everywhere on the farm. He's still scraping. I pulled cameras in a little turnip food plot that I have here, and he's still working scrapes as of 2 or 3 days ago. Actually, a number of other fairly good bucks that I've seen in the last couple weeks, or actually the last couple days when I pulled cameras the other day, we're still working scrapes. So there's still a little rut activity going on, or at least they're looking for those last couple does that might come into heat. Well, that brings us here to second shotgun season. As I said earlier, my dad is down here hunting with me, and we're trying to get him a good buck. But tonight, my dad and I are going to go to the other end of this farm. It's a big bottom with a big timber ridge that these deer funnel out into. There's a pretty good 10-pointer over here that I'd let my dad shoot. This is the side of the farm that Blanco's at. Dad doesn't get a tag very often, so we'll see what happens. And we'll check in with you later to see what happens tonight, and maybe we can get a deer in the ground for my dad.